Okay, girl, how are you feeling?
I am feeling fabulous, fantastic, great.
Awesome, I'm excited for this. You know, we've been talking about it. So you can just look at me throughout the whole interview.
Did you see where I was? That's what I was talking about.
Otherwise, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does beauty mean to you? How do you define beauty?
Beauty to me means being able to look in the mirror and be comfortable and be able to look at somebody else and see beauty. You know, we all have very different ideas of what beautiful is, but I love it when I can look at another person and see the good in them and see the beautiful in them, because also beauty for me is not always tangible. It's not always the makeup or the foundation or the concealer. It's also got a lot to do with the heart and the spirit and the soul and the energy that a person carries, you know. And when I am able to gravitate towards good energy, that's beauty for me. That is absolute and complete beauty.
Amen.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. So, can you tell us about when do you feel you're most beautiful?
My goodness, I feel my most beautiful when I'm surrounded by other women and I'm empowering them. I am a social activist and I write and I love sharing my written work with other women, you know, women specifically, because I love empowering them. And when I'm speaking to them and we are sharing knowledge and wisdom and we are growing one another, that is for me when I feel my most beautiful. It's me being able to share something good with somebody else and to allow them to grow that goodness in themselves if that's not already there, you know, and that's important. That is extremely important to me. So I feel absolutely beautiful, whether I'm in a small space, whether I'm in a big space, whether I'm with a woman that I've just met in a coffee shop. I really do feel beautiful then.
Can we start with them earrings?
Yep.
So then on the opposite end of that, when do you feel you're most ugly? Or, you know, can you share with us a moment where you question your beauty?
It was definitely various moments in high school between my ages of 14 to 19. But I do remember myself often wondering why I've got acne and my friends don't, because I've struggled with acne for the longest time. And I still do, you know, my skin still needs to be taken very well care of, and I've had to change my diet here and there. So I have definitely had to make various adjustments, you know. So it was always in high school when I'd see my friends with their clear skin and I'm like, we're the same age and what's going on here? And my acne is quite severe, so I would have breakouts on my back, on my neck, on my stomach, sometimes on my thighs, and you know, I would cry over it. It was awful because it wasn't the acne, like the spots that would just pop out here and there and now and then. It was the painful, very red, it was awful, where my skin would peel sometimes, also because I've got eczema. So high school years were my worst years, and I was so self-conscious and I was very insecure and I had a very low self-esteem.
Ooh. Okay, girl. Sorry, that was hectic. So then can you, what was your, you just rendered me speechless. I think it's the first time in beauty project history that I can think of the next question. Okay, so can you please share with us what your first or your earliest memory regarding beauty was?
My mother, Tshegetso Moepi. She is a superstar. She is a shining star. She's a formidable woman. My mother had a terrible accident when she was 3 years old. Her aunt had her tied to her back and she was putting her to sleep, and she hadn't secured the safety pin properly, and so she went up, she was looking for something at one of the top cupboards, and she climbed on the step ladder, and my mom fell off her back and hit her left hip on the side of that ladder. And unfortunately the doctors could not save that, so they couldn't do anything about it. She still has her leg, but unfortunately it's paralyzed. And you know, my mom was told that she would never be able to have kids. She's got 3 beautiful children, myself, my younger sister, and my younger brother. And she's raised such strong and very independent and lovely children, really. And she was able to do that despite some of the challenges that she's been faced with as a woman that is considered disabled, as a woman that was considered by medical doctors that she would not be able to conceive, you know. So she has embraced her beauty. She has learned to love her beauty. She has become so comfortable in her skin that sometimes I go, whenever I'm not feeling comfortable and I'm not feeling good, I just have to remember her. I need to visualize her. I need to see how much she has gone through, what she has had to do, you know, how much she has grown. The flower that grew out of the concrete, my mother, literally. I always have to remind myself that I am beautiful. She is beautiful and I'm her. Like, we look alike. You look at me, you see her. You know, so I'm really, really, really grateful for her, and I'm grateful for how she's allowed me to grow up around beauty, because that's what she is. She's got a beautiful spirit, she's got a beautiful energy, and physically she has embraced herself so much that she just glows every morning in her sleep, when she's laughing, when she's crying. I'm just like, girl, you're glowing, you're crying but you're glowing, how are you doing that? Yeah, so definitely my mom is my first memory of beauty.
Stunning, girl. Stunning. Can we go for the lips?
Yes. I just need to look at me.
You good? Alright, so if you could change one thing about yourself, what would that be and why?
How I see myself sometimes. You know, I can be very, very, very hard on myself. You know, it's good for one person to say to you, you're beautiful, but when you're not feeling it and you're not seeing it and you can't bring yourself back towards yourself, which is what I'd really, really still love to be able to do completely. I'm learning now, but sometimes I still get off track a bit. You know, sometimes I look at myself and I don't see myself as beautiful, and sometimes I look at myself and I think to myself, you're not doing enough. For example, next year I want to start working, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're doing nothing. You don't have a job. You're not going to make any money, you know, and I start living in my head. So I definitely want to change how I tend to perceive myself, because everybody else might think she's confident, she's happy all the time, she has got no problems and she has no insecurities, especially because that's how I come across as. But, you know, the moments alone are the intense moments where you are left with your own thoughts, and sometimes living in my own head can get very dangerous for me. So I'd love to change how I tend to perceive myself and how I see myself and the efforts that I make towards my future.
Hey guys, Bokang here. So you've reached the end of part 1, but believe it or not, it does get better. So to check out part 2, click the video over here. If you want to subscribe and keep up to date on more videos like this, just click the little icon somewhere over here and yeah, enjoy. Alright, see you guys. Bye.